Hi, this is Linda. I'm back with Talking in American English. This is lesson 19. I will do another conversation, which I'm calling Small Talk. This is Small Talk 2, and it will be in a work setting. I'm calling it a job reference. That means I would be telling someone about another person to help that person get a job. So I'll be using verb forms 1 and 2 in the lesson. Notice the big poster behind me. I will be referring to this poster, but you can't read it very well. It talks about what I talked about before, the 5 forms, 1 or 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. And under here is future, vague future, and then other ways that we talk about time over here. So I will eventually take one of these per video and explain it in detail. But for this lesson, I'll be doing that one. So after the conversation and an explanation of some sentences, I will be talking about this verb form in relation to the conversation. Then I will have a little bit of pronunciation and a little bit of vocabulary. So let's start with the small talk conversation. Asking what a person is like. A man asks a fellow co-worker for a recommendation regarding an employee. Now, fellow worker and co-worker mean the same thing. I just put them both in here. Someone you work with. And regarding just means about. And of course, a recommendation is saying good things about someone. Bill says, "Hi, Joe. It's good to see you. I understand you know a man named Carl. Can you give him a recommendation? I might work with him soon." Joe says, "Yes, I know Carl well. He is intelligent and hardworking and also has a pleasant personality. He is honest and dependable. You can trust him to do his best. He will do a good job." Bill says, "Does he have a lot of experience?" Joe says, "Yes, he has 8 years experience working at this company. He leads a team of 4 who plan upcoming projects." Bill says, "He gets along with his team well, right? It means a lot to me that those who work with him trust and like him and follow his leadership." Joe says, "Yes, his team praises him often. He also listens to their suggestions and considers their opinions and expertise in their specialties." Now, back about vocabulary. Praises means say good things. Suggestions are ideas to improve. Considerate is being thoughtful. And expertise is what you are the best at. You have expertise in this one thing that helps the whole team. And then specialties is what you specialize in. This is the special job you do, and you're probably pretty good at it because you're a specialist. It is your specialty. Bill says, "Does he have a problem with guiding and directing them when he believes they can do better?" Joe says, "No, he doesn't have a problem correcting ineffectiveness. He takes the lead in improving what they do. He isn't afraid to redirect them when he sees the need. I think he has the ability to judge situations, and he uses his experience and knowledge wisely. Bill says, he sounds like a great coworker. I look forward to working with him in the future. Thank you for your comments. Joe says, I am glad to help. Call or text me if you have more questions, and tell Carl hello for me. Bill says, I will do that. I have a meeting soon, so I will see you later. Joe says, see you soon, I hope. Goodbye. Now that is our conversation. If you'll notice, when I underline things, if it was a he or a man, I put an S on it. But if it's I didn't put an S on it. I didn't put an S on it. Those are, and then if I use the helper that is a vague helper, I didn't put an S on it. So the way this goes shows you when to put an S and when to not put an S on. Now I'll continue with some sentences that relate to the story. The person in the story was asking for information. So you could say something like, I will ask someone for information, or I will request information from someone. Request and ask mean the same thing. I will give a good recommendation for that person. Will you provide a referral for me? I need a good recommendation. Will you provide a referral? Refer me for that job. Are you hiring right now? I might ask the employer. I want to get a job. Another way to say that, I want to find a job. I am seeking employment. I want to be hired. I will apply for that job or position. I will turn in an application for that job or position. Apply means I'm going to try to get it and I'm going to provide information. Application is the paperwork that you might have that you give to the employer. May I make an appointment for an interview? An appointment would be a time and a day and a place to meet. An interview is sitting down with the employer, and the employer asks you questions and you tell them about yourself. I will go for an interview tomorrow. I will be interviewed by the supervisor. The interview is the question, answer, question, answer. I want to be promoted at work. Now you have the job, but you want a better job. I want to be promoted, move up in the company. I am seeking a better position at work. I am applying for a better position at work. Now, if you're going to give a recommendation or a reference for someone, you might say these things. Now, these are a little bit harsher, meaner than you would really say it, but it's showing the opposite response. She gets along well with people. She doesn't get along well with people. He is well liked. He isn't well liked. She has good people skills. She doesn't have good people skills, or she lacks good people skills. Lacks means you don't have it. He is pleasant and positive and considerate. He isn't pleasant or positive or considerate. She has a good attitude. She doesn't have a good attitude. She lacks a good attitude, or even she has a bad attitude. He is hardworking. He isn't a hard worker. She is dedicated and dependable. She isn't dedicated or dependable. He is committed to his work. He isn't committed to his work. She is a good fit for the position. She isn't a good fit for the position. Now, she may have good skills for other jobs, but not for that job, so she isn't a good fit. He is skilled and knowledgeable. He isn't skilled or knowledgeable. She has a lot of experience. She doesn't have a lot of experience. Or you could say, she lacks experience. I wanted to talk to you about the verb forms that I took down off of the chart. Here we have verb forms 1 or 2. These are verbs that don't tell when. The verb doesn't tell when. Now the adverb, these are adverbs, may tell when, but the verb itself is just an anytime idea. And there are 2 ways to say it. I, you, we, they. Use the plain form. I study, you study, we study, they study. But if I go down to he or she or it, I have to go to form 2, which has an S sound on it. He studies, she studies, it studies. Oops. Along with that, we have a stronger version, and we add do. I do study, you do study, we do study, they do study, or for he, she, or it needs an S on the helper, but we no longer need the S on this form. He does study, she does study, it does study, I don't know what it is that studies, but that's the form. Okay. Now, if it's negative, if it didn't happen, I do not study or I don't study. You do not or you don't study. We do not study or we don't study. They do not study or they don't study. And when we go to he or she or it, the helper gets the S. This lighter color is negative. He does not study. She does not study. It does not study. Or the contraction. He doesn't study. She doesn't study. It doesn't study. We didn't have to use the second form because the second form is expressed with the S on does, the helper. So this verb just stays study, study, study. Does has the S. Okay. Other times we use this form is with future after will. I will study, you will study, we will study, they will study, he will study, she will study, it will study. I put them all together. It doesn't matter. They can stay together in the list because we don't have to change for he or she or it. If it's negative, the light color, I will not or I won't study. You will not, you won't study. We will not, we won't study. They will not, they won't study. He will not study, she will not study, it will not study. She won't study, he won't study, it won't study. And I can add these to it if I want to. By the way, I forgot to mention this on this one. The reason I have ever here is because you can't mix not or nt with never, because 2 in words like that are negatives, and we don't put two negatives together, so we would have to change never to ever. He does not ever. She does not ever. It doesn't ever instead of never. But the others you can use. Okay, moving on to vague future. I, you, we, they, he, she, it. Any of these, you use one of the vague helpers. Can sing, could sing, may sing, or might sing, shall sing, or should sing, or would sing. Now, shall is more like will. I didn't put will in here because it's definite that it will happen. Shall is also definite, but it's used in a question as a vague future. Shall we go? Shall I sing? So because of that, I put it on the vague future chart instead of on the chart with will. Now, there's so many negatives, I put them down here. Any one of these, they cannot sing or can't sing. You might not, doesn't have a shorter form. May not doesn't have a shorter form. Shall not doesn't have a shorter form. Some people make one, but it's awkward. But with should not, shouldn't, like he should not go, he shouldn't go. Would not go, it wouldn't go. So these are vague futures, and we use the first verb form. But notice I didn't have to worry about the second verb form. It's not very common, except with he or she or it. The thing is, we use he or she or it a lot, so we have to remember it. Now we have a quick pronunciation. We have B, the, F, and W. Some languages have trouble with one and not the other. For some, V and F are tricky. And so remember that V and F is the same with your mouth. It's just whether or not you vibrate. Teeth show, lip behind teeth, and vibration. F, same thing, but no vibration. But both of these, your teeth show right here a little bit. A W, in order to keep it from sounding like a V, you need your lips to come out a little bit. And if it's a WH, like right here, you even blow. But your lips need to come out a little bit. If they don't, it's going to sound like a V. If you try to say we, is that a V or a we? And then B is sometimes used in place of some of these if you're not used to those sounds. So here is the poem. Jeff and Evelyn will wait and watch the lovely view of wet falling snow. When the winter weather winds down, in warm winter boots out they go. Even though the cold winter snow covers everything in vibrant white, everyone knows it eventually melts. So they both have a fun snowball fight. The only other thing I want to do is go back to a word that I skipped last time. When I was telling you about words for water flowing, I forgot the word squirt. It's a very fun word to say, squirt, squirt. So I want to illustrate that. Here is some hand sanitizer. If I squeeze it hard enough, squirt, it squirted out. It came out in a sudden stream. That's a short stream, squirt. Another time that's used, I'm wiping my hands down. Another time that's used is when you get a cut, and if it's cutting an artery, which is the vein that comes from the heart, the blood will squirt, which is very serious. Squirt, 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 and you have to bandage it quickly. If it doesn't squirt, it just flows out. It's a vein. You still want to cover it, but it's not as serious as if it's squirting out. So it's an important word to know. It's also a fun word to say, and I forgot all about it when I was talking about those words in the last video. That's all I have for you today. Thank you.